Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian Maxey, and this video, I'm going to go a little bit more advanced on the benefits of a corporate entity. So, if you've seen some of my videos in the past on the different types of corporate entities and some of the different pieces of information regarding entities, this is just going to go a little bit more into the three main benefits of having a legally separate entity. So, if you've watched past videos, you'll know that a C corporation and an LLC are both legally separate entities from their owners. So when I'm talking about corporate entities, or I may just say having a corporation, when I say that in this video, I am literally talking about a C corporation or an LLC. Both work, simultaneously. And I'm sorry, I just kind of bumped the camera there, so I'm shaking. It's not a fucking earthquake, I promise. All right, let's get to it. Top three benefits for setting up a corporate entity. Number one, liability. So by having a separate entity, all right, you're literally pulling all of the assets and things out of your name. You're going to hold it in a corporate entity. Now, what that means is this. If you have a home, you have a car, you have assets, you have money in the bank, all of these things, and you get into a car accident, somebody can sue you and somebody can take all your shit. All right. It happens all the time. It's terrible. That's why people walk around and they're like, hey, I hope, some fucking rich guy, hits me on the road today. All right. Because that's liability. And a good attorney is going to look and say, hey, he's got a shit ton of assets. I'll take your case for free. We'll go fucking, rape this motherfucker and take all of his stuff. And then we're both going to get paid. And that's how that kind of shit works. That's, Now, if everything is in the corporate entity, if everything's owned there, you just have the ability to use it and it's not in your name. Well, now what happens is if you get in a car accident, in order to sue a corporate entity, you have to prove that they were actually reasonably liable for what happened. So something like a car accident, a slip and fall at a home, unless there's gross negligence involved, most likely an attorney is going to look at that and be like, dude, there's no way you're breaking through that shit. We're not getting paid, so I'm not even taking this case, right? So ultimately, that is the absolute best case scenario, is that you don't even go to court. But even if you did, you now have legal protection, because it's like, hey, you're suing me. I rear-ended you on the road. What's that got to do with the company? Nothing, right? The company wasn't involved. This wasn't a business transaction. Okay, and vice versa. If the business does something that creates a lawsuit, they can't sue you personally. It was a corporate event, a corporate decision that led to this lawsuit. You personally cannot be held liable for what they're getting sued for. Okay, so liability is number one. Number two, I love this one, taxes. Right, we want to make more money. And one of the best ways to make more money is to save in taxes. If you got an instant 15 to 20% increase in pay, right, that's fucking life-changing. And that's exactly what happens when you save money on taxes. That money is pretty much gone the second you spend it, right? So if you can save money, it's the same thing as just getting a raise. So here's the best way I can explain it. When I was doing speaking events, I tried to figure out a good layman's way to explain this, because once you start getting into some of the details, it's pretty fucking complicated. So I'm going to explain this in the best way I have figured out how, in layman's terms, so that you understand the general concepts. From here, it gets so fucking complicated, as you would assume, that you can then go to your tax attorney or your CPA and get further help there. Okay, but here's how it is. As a human being, you do work. Whatever it is that you do, right? You do work, you immediately pay taxes on every dollar that you have made. As soon as you're done paying those taxes, you now take your post-tax money and you pay all of your bills. If there's anything left after that, that's what you get, right? So this number down here is where we have to create the American dream. This is where we buy houses and get a nicer car and have, just buy a fucking bottle of wine. Right? There's barely ever any left here, and this is why it's so hard to get ahead. Corporate entities pay taxes in a little bit different way. On top of having all these different write-offs and all these different things, they pay taxes in a different order. They do the exact same work. Whether you're a corporate entity, a sole proprietorship, whatever, you're working. You're doing what you do, okay? A corporate entity, though, then pays you because you're an employee. So you work, they pay you. You get paid right off the bat. Then all the bills get paid because those are corporate expenses. So now all the bills get paid. Whatever is left, your net profit, that's what you get taxed on. So now you get to actually conduct all of your business. And when I say conduct your business, if you drive a car, that can be a company car. If you have a house, that can be a company home. If you have a gym membership, it's because you need to look good to meet with clients. If you're buying clothes, it's because you have to look good. If you have a home office and you have a cat, well, all the expenses that go along with a cat, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, that's pest control, right? That's pest control services for your home office. That's a business expense. You see where I'm going with this shit, right? The sky is the limit. Don't get yourself caught up and fucking end up in prison. But there's a lot of flexibility on what is and is not a business expense. And so you get rid of as much money as you possibly can in legitimate business expenses. And now instead of paying taxes on your gross revenues like you did the first time, you're now paying it on your net profits. And that is a huge, huge, huge advantage, because even if your tax percentage doesn't go down all that much, you're paying on such a substantially lower amount that the tax savings is fucking incredible, okay? So take that shit to your CPA and really hammer home the most tax savings. Use a corporate entity to do so, all right? That leads us to our number 3 item, the third thing on the list here, and that is credit. So in order to get a credit profile for let's say myself, I have a name, an address, a phone number, a social security number, a date of birth, right? And then I create a credit profile with Experian and Equifax and TransUnion. Well, corporate entities are separately legal like people, right? They have names, they have addresses, they have phone numbers, they have social security numbers. They're called EIN numbers, right? So it has its own social security number. It has its own date of birth. It was the date that it was actually filed with the Secretary of State, right? It has all of these things, and then you can create a credit profile. The absolute number one, I can go into a lot of detail in this area. Again, that'll probably be a later video. But I don't know if you've ever heard of Dun & Bradstreet. They are the number one credit reporting agency for businesses. So now you have a business profile utilizing all of this information we just explained. It's the same thing as a person turning 18 and starting a credit profile in their lives. Businesses can do this, and businesses can, you may not be able to start a company and within the first year go out and fucking buy properties and cars and shit. You'd probably need the owner's personal guarantee on things like that. But when you start small, you start with some gas cards and you start filling up your tank because you're going to meet clients and things like that, and you get office supply store company cards and shit like that. You start with these small things that are in the company's name only, and then you show good payment history, you build up your credit profile, and next thing you know, you're getting bigger and better things. And it's, for many years, people have used this thing as soon as they understand it's just like personal credit. You can start to build, and when I say it's like personal credit, there's a lot of differences as far as how it's calculated and all these things. There's some do's and don'ts, that aren't cohesive between business credit and personal credit. But again, that's a different video. The understanding here needs to be that as a legally separate entity, you can start a business credit profile, and you can start gaining access to additional funds to help leverage yourself, keep your cash for what's important, and use somebody's credit card to go fucking fill up your gas tank and things. Leave that cash for expansion and payroll and the things you need it for. Okay, so those are your top 3 benefits of setting up a corporate entity. If you are doing a decent amount even within your business, if you just started, you haven't made $1, this is for the future. But if you are making a decent, little living, you're making 50 or 60 grand a year or something like that, this is probably something you want to look into and start preparing for the future so that you can continue to keep some of that money out of the IRS's hands, put it back in your own business so you can expand and put more money in your pocket, because that's the whole reason you're in business. All right, I hope it helps. Have a good one.